Dear viewers, this is my inaugural audio article, which is meant for listening, not watching, and thank you for joining me. As an academic researcher, I come across riveting, fascinating stories that you probably would not know about because these are behind a paywall, or in some archive, or a section of a book, and they don't lend themselves to video production. For example, this article, Bases, Bars, and Blue Jeans, Thailand and Cultural Debates Over the Vietnam War. This scholarly yet enthralling article is about Thailand during the Vietnam War and was behind a paywall in the academic journal The Global 60s. I will not read the entire article due to its length, but the most interesting, insightful parts. Finally, the reason I started this audio feature is so that I can bring you intriguing stories you would otherwise not know, and those containing some scholarly research behind them, peer-reviewed works or book sections from notable authors. Finally, unfortunately, there will still be commercials on it. YouTube puts commercials on every video channel that has 1,000 subscribers or more. I'm going to begin to read the article now. The Vietnam War brought Thais into an unprecedented level of direct contact with Americans on the Thais' own turf. As a hub of U.S. air operations in the war, Thailand became a temporary home to a large number of U.S. military personnel, approximately 35,000 men by 1967. On top of this figure were servicemen on leave. By the end of the 1960s, the number of servicemen on R&R, officially capped at 400 men at a time, had jumped to 1,000, with an estimated annual spending of $22 million in the country. In 1966, the Thai press uniformly carried commentaries on the rising number of bars, prostitutes, mixed-race children, and reported cases of venereal disease, which they generally attributed to the presence of American servicemen in the country. The era's hotspot for nightlife in Bangkok was the New Phetchaburi Road. In 1966, an article in Siam Rath estimated that there were 30 nightlife establishments on the strip and described New Phetchaburi Road as the fun park or love park of foreign tourists and Americans. Thais living near the bases at Udon, Ubon, Korat, and Tak Ly in Nakhon Sakon province also witnessed a sudden rise in the number of bars, nightclubs, motels, bungalows, and restaurants in their once simple, bucolic communities. In 1967, the Chow Tai newspaper reported that there were 19 bars, previously none, and 4, previously 1, nightclubs in Udon, 7 bars and 6 nightclubs in Ubon, and 24 bars and 3 nightclubs in Korat. Rong Wongsawan, a famous Thai writer known for his interest in all things American, described the scenes around Tak Ly base in Tak Ly Namta Maini Seng Rong Ha, meaning Tak Ly, tears without crying sounds. Everything there catered to Americans' needs: beers, hamburgers, steak, fried chicken, onion rings, music, and women. Sympathies to what the Americans were going through were crucial for appealing to customers. A Thai bartender picked the name VC Tears, i.e. Viet Cong tears, for his famous concoction made of lime juice, syrup, and assorted liquors. He said, "No bar in Tak Ly is named White House, Nixon, or Pentagon because it might not sit well with those drafted to fight abroad." Also, Phantom, Chicago, Mustang, and Ding Dong worked better as bar names under the circumstances. The sad state of vices and superficial enjoyment existed along the golden money-making opportunities for entrepreneurs, musicians, prostitutes, landlords, rickshaw drivers, and anyone else who could use the US dollar. The American era also witnessed interesting culinary innovations, such as American fried rice, which can be found on menus in Thailand today. Utapao, along with the nearby areas of Chonburi and Rayong provinces, by 1967 abounded with American-oriented businesses. By 1967, Siam Nakhon reported that there were 3 existing massage parlors and 3 more on the way, 28 brothels, a bowling alley, boxing stadium, and 49 restaurants, which were somewhat overpriced for regular Thais. There were some 31 bars and nightclubs with names inspired by American westerns like Nevada and Ringo, those incorporating the word yellow, like Yellow Rose, Yellow Lotus, Yellow Room, and ones with fierce-sounding names, such as Congo, Giant, and Manly. Locals sometimes resented the special attention Americans received from these businesses. Some brothels even discriminated by putting up American servicemen only signs in both languages. In contrast to these places of entertainment, the columnist noted that there was only one Buddhist temple in the Utapao area. A new way of life brought about by American servicemen altered pre-existing values in the provinces. The nightlife boom in Bangkok and around the bases sparked debates about prostitution. To be sure, prostitution had existed in Thailand before the Vietnam War, but the law of supply and demand triggered by the war and the steady flow of dollars attracted more women to the job. The avenue to prostitution varied for each woman. They might start out as drinking partners in bars and nightclubs or masseuses and end up doing more than their job description. Sometimes a combination of personal problems and the lure of money turned women to nightlife jobs. Some took jobs to provide for their Thai boyfriends. Once in the nightlife business, a woman might move on to become a Mia Chow, or hired wife. The word Mia, translated here as wife, does not necessarily involve legal marriage. Hired wives were so called because they were steady with their clients, lived with them for as long as both parties agreed, and usually performed household chores. Depending on the men, these women could make good money, ranging from 1,000 to 3,000 baht a month, while a college graduate might earn about 1,200 a month. In 1967, it was estimated at Tak Lee alone there were about 400 hired wives. Just as Rong Wongsawan wrote, "No one can deny that hired wives are an important part of the caste in the most expensive war in the history of mankind." The press also called attention to the rising number of mixed-race children in Bangkok and the provinces with bases. Due to the circumstances of the American father's duties and the Thai mother's jobs, the future of these children became a major source of worry. Determining and exercising responsibility for these children could be a problem where the fathers were not aware of their existence and the mothers could not always pinpoint the identities of the fathers. Some of their mothers who returned to their jobs after giving birth simply left their children to be cared for by relatives or paid someone to raise them. As a result, some of these children were neglected or abandoned. There was also the fear that those left behind with their mothers in Thailand would have difficulty fitting into Thai society. The press reported the findings of the Department of Social Welfare that these children were stared at everywhere they go and sometimes taunted. In addition to newspapers, the cultural debates during the American era found their outlets in novels and music. Songs like Kun Ying Dollar, meaning Lady Dollar, and Mam Pla Ra, Madame Pla Ra, criticized Thai women who threw themselves at Americans, with the former warning that once the Americans departed, all that remained would be mixed-race children. The plight of Thai women following the departure of their American boyfriends was the focus of a song by a famous writer, Arjun Punjapun, entitled Love Letter from a Hired Wife, inspired in part by the American song Sad Movies, popular in Thailand at the time.
Sad movies always make me cry.
The lyrics told the story of a hired wife lamenting the absence of her American boyfriend, John, who had returned to Illinois. While expressing her feelings for him, she also complained about her used-up body and scarcity of dollars. But that was not the worst of her problems. As listeners found out, she did not know his address and presumably ended her life using DDT. The hook went, "It was sadder than sad movies. Oh, John, you made me cry." Meanwhile, American pop culture was proliferating in Thailand. The existence of U.S. bases and military personnel inevitably familiarized Thais with American pop culture. Since the 1950s, U.S. consumer goods had become more available to Thais, who generally interpreted "Made in USA" labels as signifying products of high quality and social status. During the Vietnam War, duty-free post-exchange or PX goods, including clothes, shoes, sunglasses, canned foods, cigarettes, electrical appliances, whiskey, and beer were imported into Thailand in great quantities and varieties to serve the needs of American military personnel. Some Americans used their PX privileges to purchase items and resold them to make extra money. For youngers who wished to look cool and feel the sense of freedom associated with American clothing, the availability of affordable PX items was hardly a bad consequence of having Americans in the country. Sears Roebuck catalogs were available in flea markets to keep Thais abreast of the latest collections of U.S. consumer culture. At Sanam Luang Market in Bangkok, one could find used Levi jeans that entered the country with GIs or brand new ones that had found their way out of PX stores. Also popularized by the American presence were Fruit of the Loom t-shirts, Ray-Ban sunglasses, Timex watches, Converse shoes, U.S. Air Force light blue short sleeve shirts, dark green U.S. Army t-shirts and backpacks, U.S. Marine belt buckles, and military dog tags. The provinces that housed the bases naturally became showcases and depots for these goods. In Udon, for example, one could spot a rickshaw driver pedaling about in Converse shoes and military fatigues. The word makan, generally assumed to derive from American, was common slang for cool or fashionable. Makan became a popular name for tailor shops where Thais could custom make their low-rise, bell-bottomed, and straight-leg pants based on styles displayed in catalogs and music magazines. The 1960s also witnessed significant foreign influence in the music scene. English-language songs had attracted a growing audience since the 1950s, partly due to the American shows and songs supplied by the U.S. Information Service, USIS, to Thai television and radio programs. In addition to such broadcasts, Lek Wongsawong, one of the best-known radio hosts, later explained how hit songs often accompanied hit movies. A prime example was the popularity of Simon and Garfunkel following the release of The Graduate. The showing in Bangkok of the documentary Woodstock kept Thais up to date about the culturally defining event of the era. IS Song Hits, a music magazine that informed Thais of new releases and updates from favorite artists, became a phenomenal success. This influential magazine also became a fashion accessory, as many youngsters felt that sporting a copy of IS Song Hits in the back pocket of their jeans was requisite for a trendy look. The Vietnam War meant further exposure to American music for Thais. Records of American artists, brought in by servicemen or imported as PX goods, were resold, while jukeboxes in bars and nightclubs catering to an American clientele played hit songs.
In the old days, a languid had settled over the city once dark. Now, Bangkok swings at night. Thousands of colored neon signs proclaim the city's bars, bathhouses, massage parlors, and dozens of luxurious nightclubs, each with its pretty Thai hostesses. These spots are the favorite.
You come fly back to me. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. You found me love and you left me back. I'm sorry about that.
Some listeners turned into performers of American music. Several musicians built their skills and careers on their experiences around the American bases. Some Thai musicians referred to the time they performed for Americans as the Golden Era, where they not only made good money, but also, due to requests from their customers who did not understand Thai, learned how to play English language songs. Shor An Na Bang Chan, regarded by some as the Thai Jimi Hendrix, mastered his skills playing for GIs in the provinces. His American customers brought him records of songs they wanted him to try, showed him new techniques, and became his friends. Lam Morrison, whose last name reportedly was given to him by American GIs, impressed by his talent and perceived resemblance to Jim Morrison of The Doors, was part of the band VIP, famous around bases in the northeast of Thailand. Thai bands playing in that region usually focused on rock music, while those in areas near Utapao were known more for blues and soul. Many of these musicians continued playing rock music after their American songs were gone, while some moved on to Pleng Pu Chuit, or songs for life, a new genre of Thai folk music that became popular during the democratic protest in October 1973. For example, Lu Chu Nyongsam, who played for GIs in a band called Spider, later joined one of the most famous Songs for Life bands of all time, Carabao. And Carabao is still playing in Thailand. The end of the Vietnam War and withdrawal of U.S. military personnel from Thailand had a tremendous impact on the businesses catering to GIs and the people earning their living from them. In July 1975, in the wake of the Mayaguez affair, which led to university students' campaign for the complete withdrawal of American servicemen from Thailand, about 500 hired wives in Korat and 100 in Udorn counter-protested the students' campaign. With their clientele dwindling, these women grew concerned at the thought of returning to their lives as they had been before the influx of American servicemen. Early in 1974, reporting on planned withdrawals of U.S. forces from Ubon, Thai Rath observed that a hired wife was determined to continue her profession in areas where Americans remained after the departure of her boyfriend, Sergeant Dave. Others had to return to toiling in the fields. At Utapao, hired wives got together to discuss the imminent repatriation of their men and university students' actions to hasten the process. One woman, saddened by the departure of My Dear John and having announced she would drink herself to death, actually dropped dead while downing alcohol with her friends on Independence Day in 1975. Another took her own life by drinking poison. About 100,000 Thais would lose income once the Americans left. While some skilled workers could be reabsorbed into the Thai workforce, unskilled workers and those providing services to Americans would have more difficulty. Approximately half of those 100,000 Thais earned their living through direct employment by the U.S. government. 1/4 of those would be without jobs were in Udon, while in the Utapao area had about 23,000 and Karat about 22,500. They were people in need of new sources of income. Alongside approximately 10,000 hired wives and 2,000 prostitutes who would lose business were 15,000 bar workers and 14,000 rickshaw drivers. The loss of livelihood following U.S. withdrawal supplied another issue to the existing list of dissatisfactions with the Thai government. In conclusion, The American influence on Thailand paradoxically served as a major point of contention and an influential cultural reference. There's a Thai expression, Gliad plala gin nam gan, hating the ill but drinking the soup, that is used to describe a situation where someone may not be satisfied with something as a whole, but appreciates a part of it. A common application of this saying is when a mother-in-law absolutely hates her son's wife, but adores the couple's child. It is an apt description of how Thais viewed American influence during the Vietnam War. Thais might criticize U.S. foreign policy and the social impact of American presence in the country, but they did not mind consuming the U.S. popular culture imported into the country along with the agents of that policy. Thank you again for listening.